there they are.
Oh, everybody here.
Yeah.
Michelle, I have one question. What country are you
Yes.
in?
Aruba.
I told you. She's there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything like Aruba.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Hotel curtains.
I was about to say, is that shower curtain behind her?
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, I'll declare this meeting of 10 November of LCBA now open. I'd like to make an opening comment. This is Dr. Gary Silverman's last meeting with LCBA. As people may know, he and his wife Charlotte are moving way between Washington State and Canada. So he's in the midst of doing a lot of moving, packing, et cetera. We're not going to lose him totally. He has things to tie up. But Gary's been involved in this since April of 2018, when the committee was formed to look to see we should form an authority or whatever. So he's been associated with this for a very long time.
Since day one.
And, yeah, day one, when we met in Irvington.
Yep.
So on behalf of LCBA, I'd like to thank Gary for everything. As everybody knows, he's been so heavily involved in a lot of the technical, the planning, the strategy, for all the different things we've attempted, we've looked at. I remember spending Valentine's Day, day before Valentine's Day, here with Gary, finishing up responses for the RUS program. And he even gave me a little Valentine's Day present. I can't think of anybody who's worked harder or put in longer hours than Gary, going out to see the smart poles when the rest of us were home doing whatever we were doing, and he was going out, testing them, seeing if they were working, not working, and there's a whole list of things. But on behalf of LCBA, thank you. And I think on behalf of Lancaster County, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
done a tremendous amount of work, and
Yeah.
we all appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You may appreciate this more, Michelle, but Charlotte just finished a race this past weekend in snow on sailing.
Oh, that
in
sounds like
House
fun.
Sound. Yeah, no, she looked frozen, but, she loved it. But anyway, she was racing
Wow.
with the West Vancouver Club, so,
That's really cool.
yeah.
Wow. Talk about being cold. Woo.
Yeah, no, I said, good for you.
You didn't participate.
Okay,
That's all.
and public comments? No, all right, we have one individual here. He just figured he's going to go from this meeting to another meeting so he see what's going on. Okay, Cherie, since you did the minutes, comments on that?
I'll make, so I circulated the October 13, 22 minutes for Cassie and Kevin. Got some comments back, incorporated them. The last version I sent included comments I had received from Nicholas. And if those look okay to everybody, I'm making a motion that we approve the minutes of October 13, 2022 as circulated by Cherie Kaiser.
Do I have a second? I'll second it.
She can second.
Oh,
Yeah, I just did. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
that's three, so they're approved. Okay, Nicholas, you're up. You want to start?
Okay,
Start with whatever one of the programs, APB, whichever one you want to start with is okay.
we'll start with, since you have all points broadband on the top, there's not much to report on that. Everything seems to be on schedule. I did speak with Jessica Davis from Lancaster County Public Schools in regards to the location of the proposed cabinet for APB for their provided broadband service. They said that this location is okay. There's some concern, I should say concerns, request to have some kind of landscaping put around it, which I'm sure will be fine. I forwarded it on to APB, and then we're going to go from there. I requested a meeting with them or a call just to kind of go over what, some of the asks I think that we may want for the county, as a compensation for providing that site. One of the things I'm thinking of is, asking them for, dark fiber to all the locations, any county location. So if there's a private network that the county wants to build in the future, they can do that. And I don't think that'll be an issue. We'll get to that step when we get there. If anybody has any other ideas, please, we could talk offline about it, or just send it to me. But that's kind of where my head's at. BTS, on the fixed wireless program, which is one of the CARES projects, there's 270 customers that are installed. That's up from 262 last month. So that's, once again, we're getting this progress, and I have not heard any complaints about that service. I don't know if anybody else has, but it seems to be, working pretty solidly. So, considering from the beginning, all the problems we had and all the, there was a lot of chatter about some of the service, it kind of went away. So everything is good with that service, which is great news. The smart poles.
To add on, Nicholas,
What's that?
I just wanted to add on to that. I talked to Mark McKercher, and initially he was irritated because they get some of their service from buying it from BreezeLine, and it was down one day. But since then, he said it's been great. It's been a solid, I think he says he's getting like 30 down and 4 or 5 up. And he says it's been real consistent. So,
Good.
So I just thought from a former LCBA member, we're getting some feedback.
That's good news. Good for him.
And that's typical. Just, in my past lives, you would buy your main internet pipe from, a tier 1 provider from, whether it's up in Northern Virginia, Carey Hotel, or we used to buy it from Baltimore as your main big pipe. But then for backup, you would buy it from a kind of a local provider, for us it would be Cox or something like that. The service is a lot more hops, and the latency was much higher, but it was really primarily used. It was used as a backup, so it went down. So that could have been the experience he had if their main internet feed went down and that they had a redundant feed with BreezeLine or somebody local. So, but those things do happen as long as they have good service. That's really what we care about. So that's good news. From smart poles, we spoke about that. We had 2 that weren't in service. Well, we're down to 1 that's not in service, and that's in Nutsville. They did now the 2 that are back into service is Thomas Landing and Corriconum. They're still not spectacular service, but they have service now, and they did some recent pole upgrades to the Corriconum site, and hopefully that will help. And they're still looking at some ways to improve Thomas Landing, but they said the bandwidth is low, but there is connectivity. There's the latest report. Nutsville, they're still looking at how they could get service out there. So we're, it's not the best news, but it's better than last month, and hopefully we'll be able to get at least some kind of service out there to all the locations for the smart poles. Any questions on BTS?
No.
Anybody? Okay. BreezeLine, we're making great progress. Construction is substantially complete. There's probably like a few, 1,000 feet here and there that have to be placed. But for all practical purposes, major construction as far as cable placing is complete, splicing's underway. Beach Cove Villas in Windjammer Lane was something that's been held up because of the sewer on site. And once again, construction, good news on that is construction should be complete by the beginning of next week in that area. So they had a private company come out and do the locates for the sewer. All the cable or conduits have been, at least the conduits have been placed, and cable will follow. So all the underground construction, at least for where they're digging and doing directional bores, is complete. So that's really good news, but that was kind of one of the holdups, and that was because of that sewer line. They do have a couple of issues here and there, but they're nothing that's major. So from where we were last week to where we are today, I think it's great progress on that side for Beach Cove Villas.
Nicholas, you said that
yeah.
construction out there will be finished next week for Windjammer Lane?
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
They're anticipating actually, between Bernie and me on the call, it should, by the end of this week, it should be done, but they're, saying it'll be there next week.
Yeah,
They should,
That is
definitely
good.
should have it complete. There's a couple of areas that are, being held up by, and I think I spoke about this last year, last week, or last month, I should say, when construction's complete by construction forces and everything gets spliced up, it then goes to their technical operations team, which goes out there and does testing, verification, make sure everything meets their specs before it gets released to customer service to go out for customers to sign up. There's two areas. There's one area, is Cherry Point area, that is being held up by Tech Ops because of two addresses that are on Cherry Point that won't allow them to go on their property to verify those two addresses that are that the service meets the specs. What they're going to try doing is have Tech Ops just just say, look, they're too one off and now on the property, you can't go on the property. So they're going to get hopefully get that removed from Tech Ops this week. Those two addresses, and then Tech Ops go out there and test it and verify everything but those two addresses and release that one area, the Cherry Point area. It sounds kind of like, why wouldn't you do that? But once again, they have their methodology of turning it up, and it's actually kind of a good program to make sure that everything's up and running and verified before it gets released for actual customer service.
So door hangers should be starting soon.
Yes. I'm going to touch on that a little bit because I did have a conversation with them on our monthly call. Excuse me. There's another area, Pleasant Banks, Whitestone area, it happens to be their area number 12. And there's an issue with the splice, with Tech Ops went out there to do verification. They saw an issue with one of the splices. Unfortunately, that splice is behind a locked gate that they can't get access to. So they're trying to, they're reaching out to the property owner to get access to this area so they could, once again, fix that area or fix that splice and release it and do the testing. But everything else in that one area is complete, just this one final step. But once again, I just want to reiterate that we are, the project on a whole is ahead of schedule. So it's not like we're falling behind schedule. So there's just like two little issues that we have out there. So VATI customers that are in service sounds low. So for the whole project for all 4 counties, there's only 41 customers of the VATI customers of the VATI project that's actually in service, new customers in service. So that's kind of a little depressing that there's only 41 for all 4 counties. The good news is that 20 of them are in Lancaster County.
Yay.
So we have 50% are in Lancaster. So that's always always feel good. Which goes back to your point, Kathy, about the door hangers. On the monthly call, I said, the number really hasn't changed that much since last month. So I spoke with Crystal, on the call. I said, what is there a program? What's going on to make sure that all this money's been spent, that we actually reach out to customers that it's ready for service. And there is always it's kind of like a hockey stick ramp up. It's real slow at first, and all of a sudden they get bombarded with orders. And that's kind of where they are right now. And they are starting to place door hangers and more direct sending direct sales people out there to reach these areas. Once again, we spend money to build this out, but they spent a lot more, and they want to return their investment also. So I don't think there's going to be any, I think there's going to be a strong effort to get as many customers as they can get signed up. But they're just kind of in that early stage, and that, from my past experience, it starts off slow, then all of a sudden it flies pretty darn quick exponentially. The customers being in queue, and they are gearing up on the installation side to meet that demand. So people don't get frustrated with, they placed an order in October or November, and they're waiting for service in March. So they don't want that either. So they're gearing up on the installation side.
Yeah, Crystal, I'm just going to tell you, Crystal told me that they increased the number of people in customer service, and did some training because there were complaints about how they were handling customers. But they've increased the number so they can handle calls and get back to people sooner. So that's good.
That's good, yes. I guess that's part of the ramp up she was speaking about.
Yeah,
Once again, it is all of a sudden you get bombarded with, and it, like I said, typically you can see like one neighbor, somebody gets it, then their neighbors start getting it. So it kind of circles around the initial person who orders the service and then spreads out from there. Like I said, overall with the project, I'm very pleased with it. We're ahead of schedule. Their goal is to get this wrapped up by year end, and be done with construction and everything. And I think they're on track for that.
that's good news. Okay. Anything else?
Any questions or any clarifications needed?
Nope.
So just be aware that Dominion's laying fiber already this way.
Ooh,
Well, that's good news for us on the APB front, right? So the more fiber they place,
Remember,
the better off it is for APB to get rolling.
Yeah, remember Dominion is doing about a third of the county, of the total miles that, in that APP project. Matter of fact, I ran into Dominion, I talked to the guys, and they were running down the road right by, that goes to Mark McKercher's place. And I don't know why Dominion is running that piece, but Dominion must have some piece of equipment down that road. So, because they said they were gonna run, we know they're gonna be all over Mary Point because of the solar
right.
projects that are going on, and they're gonna be running the fiber to support their investment down there. And then they said they had some switches down there too, Don, if I'm not remember, do you remember?
That project hasn't been applied for and obviously not approved yet, so, I mean, concept plan shows that, but that's,
Oh, okay. So, anyway, so any type of electrical type of thing, Dominion's gonna run to it. And that's why we initially thought it was only gonna be about 20 miles, and it came out to 110 miles.
Yeah, they run it. I mean, there's not just like when you look at the poles, you see those big cans. They're transformers usually, but there's capacitor banks, there's voltage regulators, and they're all downstream devices that they want to be able to monitor and control. So they want to be able to not just get data from it, but be able to switch it, to turn different levels on and off, depending on what the device is. So those devices are really spread out throughout their whole network. So that's probably why of the increase in the large increase in fiber.
Okay. Other questions for Nicholas? No?
Nicholas, one question, did they, APB confirm that they're gonna start running fiber in our county, Q1, or?
On the last meeting, I think before they said that Q1 is when they were anticipating starting to run actual construction. And they have been out in the field. Michelle had sent me an inquiry from someone who is not on in their database, which I forwarded on to them. But they in this person's email, they've seen activity, APB activity out in the area. So they're whether it's I'm assuming it's the engineering staff going out there doing field notes so they're actively in the area. So once, they're probably going to start rolling out construction very soon.
Don, you have any questions, comments? The last thing that was on the agenda was the November monthly. For those who haven't looked at a calendar, it's a week from today. So I will take care of the monthly report. It'll be short.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thanks, Cassie.
You're welcome. Anybody in particular want to do the report?
What day is that?
Next Thursday.
What is that?
17th.
I can do that.
That'll be good.
That'll be my last one.
So you'll do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Gary will do it.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll send you the
I'm in
report.
town.
One of those rare moments. Okay.
Gary, will we know how to reach you when we come to the West Coast?
Same phone number.
Really? Okay,
I'm
well,
not changing
there
anything.
you go.
I haven't,
Same name?
same name, I'm not changing name. But yeah, it's a pretty area up there. If you
Beautiful
ever
area.
Been to Vancouver, it's very nice, and this is between Vancouver and Whistler. So if you're a skier, which we like to do, it's halfway there. It's an hour shorter.
You know there's no more draft, right?
Yeah, but anyway. I was worried about that in '72.
This has got to be a record.
No, it's not.
Oh, we had a shorter meeting than this?
Can-
I think so.
I do have one question.
Oh, I knew you would.
We have, two of your members' terms will expire at the end of December. One is Gary and one is Cherie.
Cherie.
I'm assuming, I know Gary is moving away, so he's not seeking reappointment, but I'm assuming that Cherie would like to be reappointed. Is that correct, Cherie?
I'll get back to you on that, Don.
Okay.
You just gave Cassie a heart attack.
Oh, please, don't do this to me.
The term runs through December, so, and the board's meeting in December is December 15th. So,
Oh, for the next monthly.
yeah, so,
Yeah, I did look at that.
just,
Yeah.
just,
At a minimum, I've got some things to complete for the county that we talked about at the last meeting. And so that could end up running beyond December. But I do think if anybody is going to be departing, it's probably a good idea to post the position sooner rather than later.
Oh, yeah.
So people with the institutional knowledge can share what they have with any newcomers that might replace them.
okay, well, I know we're gonna be filling at least one seat. You can let me know when you've decided, Cherie. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll be talking, Cherie. Okay, anything else from anyone?
As of our last deposit, our account's at 41,278 and 89 cents.
This is the Lancaster.
Yes.
Chesapeake.
Chesapeake.
I'm sorry, I keep on saying Lancaster.
So that means we're back to the original amount the EDA gave us plus some.
Right, because they gave us 30,000,
Yeah,
so we're up 11 over that.
so.
That's good. That's good. Fiscally responsible, fiscally, however you say it.
Kevin, has
Excuse me?
BTS payments up to date?
I think we're just this month, right? Yeah, the only thing, we got like a double check last month, or, yeah, double check last month, but we haven't gotten a check for this month yet. But I mean, that's not unusual for it not to come in by the time we have our meeting, so.
Okay. Anything else, Don? Okay, Kevin, do you want to make your usual motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
You want a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Cherie? Oh, you were waving. I didn't.
You're muted. We can't hear a word you're saying.
My husband would love that. All's good. I have nothing more.
Oh, Cherie, your name is up there twice,
Yeah.
once for Nicholas and once for you.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I can
It's
tell
your
you
worst
apart.
nightmare.
Nicholas is Sherry too.
I'm trying to keep you guessing.
Okay.
Well, I
Is
think
it
Shirley,
he
you
or
were
is
me
it
once,
she?
right?
What?
I think you were me once for a meeting, so
Yes, I
we're
was.
even.
That's right.
I think I got the better deal, but
Oh, you're kind.
Oh, thanks, guys.
You must-
Michelle, enjoy
All
your
right.
vacation.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh, yeah, you have to hit the gavel.
You have to hit the gavel.
Oh,